All right, hi guys, I'm Tracy. Thank you for joining me today. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over some brushes that I recommend. How do I say this? If you guys are looking for brushes, these are some brushes I recommend to get sooner versus waiting. So I'm not trying to encourage overspending or overbuying. Please do not empty your savings or go into credit card debt buying these products. It's just simply a way for me to give some sort of guidance, like my perspective on brushes that you should get now because possibly in the future they might be difficult to get, or I predict the price will go up a lot. I'll link the video down below that I did on my perspective on the brush industry and how things are being the changes and how it's become a lot more difficult for the Japanese brush makers to source these hairs. So I'm gonna pick a few from each brand in case you guys have a preference for which brand to you guys have a preference, and we all have brands that we prefer. So with Wayne Goss, I recommend any of his gray squirrel brushes, and I have the number 3 and the number 4. The number 3 is bigger. This one is currently out of stock, but it says it will come back. The number 4 is in stock. I recommend both of these. They're super high quality. They perform so beautifully. They're so useful, and they're still priced very fairly. I do think if he continues making these that they will go up in price. The 3 and the 4 and the airbrush, this one is currently available. It's gone up in price, yes, but it's still a fair price. It was $35 when I bought this, but now it's $45. But this is such a great brush. I have used and washed it so many times and it's still in perfect condition. So I do say, aside from the number 6, anything from Wayne Goss made of blue squirrel hair, I would definitely get sooner than later. So for Sonia G, pretty much anything made of dyed Chikuhodo goat hair. So each brush maker has a different process to dye their hairs, and I know she's very particular on which brush maker makes her dyed Chikuhodo goat hair brushes. So you can just be rest assured that the Sonia G hairs are going to be, the best that are available. So this is the Sonia G Designer Pro. This is a very, very functional brush, very multifunctional, and just super high quality. I know there's like a little hair sticking out. That's because it's my fault, but I've had this one for quite a while, and even her other dyed Chikuhodo brushes they're just amazing. I can't say anything more, but anything that is made of this material I would definitely buy sooner than later. A set, if you're looking to get one of her sets that are available now, I think her Pro Face set would be really worth getting. A lot of those brushes are made of the dyed Chikuhodo goat hair. Also, a lot of those brushes are made of very longer hairs, which are even harder to source. So the Face Pro and the Chige Pro, they're made of very long hairs. So I don't think you can get those individually. I think she said maybe next month you could, but if you're gonna buy a set, I would recommend the Pro Face set over the other ones. Also the Buffer Pro or the Smooth Buffer. These are, I have a bunch of videos dedicated to this brush. These are very dense. The way these are crafted is, there's something different about these. So a lot of times when you're using a very dense brush and you do this, it'll lift your makeup, it'll take it off, and it would mix it up a little too much and make it look muddy. But there's something about this one that does not do that. I use this mainly for finishing powder, especially if I have like too much blush or something, or too much bronzer. It's not looking as even as I'd like it to. These are really good for, buffing. That's why they're called buffer brushes. But I recommend any of her buffer brushes. They're very fairly priced. They're in no way inexpensive, but I do feel for what you get, they're very fairly priced. Now for Bisyodo, I think anything from their long or short series, I will get them sooner than later. These, in my opinion, are still very reasonably priced. And the long series, the craftsmanship is just like so exquisite. It's made of African rosewood. It's lacquered. It's like super shiny. It's, you know, it's got their gold emblem. It's gold plated brass. And the hairs are processed in a way that is unique to them. I did email them and they said they have kind of like a secret process of washing, dyeing, washing and dyeing. So I do think there's something special about their hairs. This is dyed Chikuhodo goat hair, and these are just so beautiful. I feel like they kind of perform right in between a squirrel hair and a goat hair brush. It's got the softness of a squirrel hair brush, but the resilience and the pickup of a goat hair brush. So any of these I think are worth getting. I have a bunch at this point. And these two I use the most, the BC1 and the BH2. I'll list these down below, these two. But, you know, for the craftsmanship and for the quality of hairs and for the price, I would get these. I could imagine the price going up, or maybe them not really making these. I don't know. So that's Bisyodo. I don't have any of their short series. They tend to be undyed goat hair, so I'm not as excited about those. I don't think they're as unique, but all of the feedback I've had from their short series, the styles are kind of similar to this, but the handles are short and they're undyed. I mean, they're different, but I've gotten so much positive feedback from some of you guys that have ordered their short series, so I think any of those will be really good investments. And if you're looking at Hakuhodo, I highly recommend anything that is from their blue squirrel and goat mix. There's something very unique about this mix. They perform, you know, it's kind of similar to kind of like how these are. They have like the pickup and resilience of a goat hair, but they're so soft and they're just a very perfect medium. You know, if you don't want something as silky and flexible as a pure squirrel hair, but you're not looking for something with the resilience of a goat hair brush, I think you'll really like these. The two that I highly recommend is the B512 and the B5521. These are my most used of this mix, but I think any of the brushes from Hakuhodo that are made of this would be, you know, good investments. I do have the G511, but I don't use this one too much, and it's not the greatest for like cheek products, but it is good for under eye powdering, but you don't need this specific one. I got this hoping that it would look more like this, so it's a big difference though. The G511 and the B512, like big difference. This one, yes, is a little more, but so much more worth it. Look how much more brush you get, you know. So those are my top recommendations from Hakuhodo. And then another one that I highly recommend from them as well is the G5523, made of pure blue squirrel hair. This is such an amazing brush. To me, it's a packing brush, and it just provides such a kind of like ethereal look when you do your shimmers, and it's a really great size, and it's good if you have smaller eyes because it can get into like the corners right here. So this is a super high quality brush. I would recommend this one. And so from Koyudo, I don't have anything from their premium series, but I've heard so much good feedback. They're made of gray squirrel and Chikuhodo goat mix. So, you know, the craftsmanship, the labor involved with making their premium series is pretty, you know, up there. And one that I've been eyeing that I am trying to get sooner than later is the SJ200. It's their cheek brush. Something to note is their premium series are short handled. So I have some of their BP brushes, which are a little bit longer. They kind of look like this, except they're shorter and the hairs are different. But I would say if you're gonna order from Koyudo, that is a good line to look at. And the FuPa14, I know I talk about this a lot, but this is a Koyudo CD Japan partnership brush. So Koyudo makes this part, they make the brush head, and then CD Japan puts it together with their handle. They're super high quality, and this one in particular is gray squirrel and Soko goat hair. It's super dense. It's a really great buffing brush, kind of like how I use the Sonia G smooth buffer, you know, kind of like getting everything blended in for putting finishing powder. This was a great deal. It was like $68, I think, when I bought it. The price has gone up. It's in the $90 range, but I still think it's worth getting, and you're getting a lot of brush for what you're paying. So I highly recommend that one. Let me see. Okay, so and for Chikuhodo, the GSN-9. This is an amazing brush, not terribly expensive, and you get this super long, luxurious handle. All of the GSN series have this really long handle. Now just keep in mind, they're very long, like if you compare it to Hakuhodo. And sometimes I do find myself hitting my mirror with it. So if you're not someone that likes the long handle, you're not going to like these, but I really like the shape and the size of this one. And it's gray squirrel. It's so soft. It feels the same as the blue squirrel, but it's just a little smaller. They also have a GSN-7, which is bigger. So if you have bigger eyes, you might like that one better, but I really highly recommend this brush. And another type of brush that I think would be worth, you know, getting sooner than later are the Kolinsky packing brushes. I have one from Bisyodo. I think this is like, I'll put the names down below. I don't memorize all of these names, but this is an amazing packing brush from Bisyodo Kolinsky. It's got that, it's a long series, so it has that really beautifully lacquered handle and the gold-plated ferrule. Another one that is kind of similar, that is actually more reasonably priced, is the Houkodou. I'm sure I'll put it down below, but it's their Brilliant Gold series. And I do think this line is still pretty reasonably priced. And in fact, the most recent addition from this line is the Houkodou GS-2. And I think I would get another one of these. It's now priced at $27.99 USD. So another great deal, I do think, for the quality of brush. These hairs are Canadian squirrel, so I'm not sure if, because it's called Canadian squirrel, if they could, you know, still source it if it's coming from Canada, but I don't know if that's the case. And I do find that this hair is pretty rare to find, but it's a really nice brush. And I've been looking very closely at the Houkodou Brilliant Gold series, and I think that is a really good line to buy from, because the price is still, you know, reasonably priced. Like they have this domed blush brush, 100% gray squirrel, for $56.85 USD. And the handles are really nice, very luxurious. So that's another type of brush that I would say would be better to get now. I do think, like, if, you know, you have a big brush collection and for some reason you needed, you know, extra cash, I do think there are products that will be easy to resell. And I do think it's not the worst thing to treat yourself with, you know, better than, you know, clothes that often will not be, you know, resold. But I just wanted to put something together to give you guys a little guidance on my opinions on what brushes might be either, you know, difficult to find in the future or much more expensive. So that's really all I want to say in today's video. Hopefully you guys get some time off, you know, wherever you are in the world. And with that, I will say bye.